This is Capital Recap. I'm David Castell. One of the visitors to XYZ on Air, our new programme for children, was Peter Davison, the latest in a distinguished line of Doctor Who's. The programme, of course, has always been a colossal success with children of all ages, so not surprisingly, the questions came thick and fast.
Claire Davis, you have a question.
Did you ever watch Doctor Who when you were young?
Always, yes. I watched it right from the second episode. I missed the first episode twice. When it first went out, Doctor Who, it was so popular, the very first episode, that it was repeated again the next week. And I missed it both weeks.
Tell me, which would be your favourite Doctor to date, then?
Apart
from yourself.
Diplomatically put. My favourite would be Patrick Troughton, not because I think he was best. It was simply that he coincided with the time I watched it the most. And after that, I mean, William Hartnell and Patrick Troughton may be about equal, but certainly he was my favourite.
How did you feel when you were given the part of Doctor Who?
Astonished. I was rung up on a Saturday evening about a year and a half ago now, and it was the producer of Doctor Who ringing up, who I knew vaguely, well, quite fairly well. He'd worked on All Creatures, and he told me that Tom Baker was leaving, which no one knew at that time. And I said, "Oh, really?" And then he said, "What do you think about being the next Doctor Who?" I was just speechless. It just seemed to me a remarkable idea to get me to play it. I mean, I thought they'd go for someone sort of eccentric and older, So it took me about 2 weeks to get used to the idea. And then eventually I said yes. But my first reaction was, it's a crazy idea. Then I grew to like the idea after a while.
Out of all the monsters you've worked with, which is your favourite?
Out of all the monsters you worked with, which is your favourite?
Oh, the Cybermen, I think, probably. I quite like the Cybermen. And that's really the reason I think that they were in the season I'd just done, was because I said to the producer that they were my favourite.
I thought he'd say that. Claire?
What do you think of acting with so many monsters around you?
Well, I'll be very honest with you. At first, I found it very difficult, because some of the lines in Doctor Who are bordering on the silly if you don't take it seriously. That's the point. I think you have to take it seriously, and I discovered that I had to throw myself into it as if I was a child playing on the street. I used to play when you're very young, pretending that there are monsters or cowboys and Indians or something like that, and you really have to throw yourself into it and imagine that's what you're doing, because otherwise you don't take it seriously, and if you don't take it seriously, then nobody will take it seriously.
Peter Davison, alias Doctor Who.